Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
New details are coming out as San Diego rolls out its first ever trash pickup fee. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The city recently finalized a plan to replace hundreds of thousands of trash and recycling bins. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers says now residents can choose which trash bin size and price point works best for their household.
If you live in the city of San Diego and get a mailer about waste management, it's not trash. It's about your trash service. Last month, the city approved a historic and controversial new trash fee for all homes. The mailer explains what it will cost, how it will be billed, and the choices homeowners have for new trash bins. Jeremy Bauer is with the city's Environmental Services Department and says the new bins are needed.
Around 75% of the deployed containers are 20 years old or beyond. And these containers are warranted for about 10 years. So they're largely well beyond their useful life, meaning they're subject to breakage, they're old, they're brittle.
This week, the City Council approved the contracts to replace trash and recycling bins across San Diego at a cost of nearly $65 million, which will be spread out over the next 10 years to customers in their bills. Bauer says the move to buy 750,000 bins is part of upgrading service as San Diego implements its first ever trash pickup fee. The upgrades include new size options and colors and some new technology.
All of the new containers are deployed with radio frequency ID, RFID readers, which that's the technology we're currently piloting, and that will allow us, as we're collecting, to detect when a container is picked up so that we can collect that data over time.
On Monday, the council approved the replacement program 6-3. Council member Marnie Von Wilpert was opposed.
This is one of the reasons I voted no on this, is that this is way too high. So I'm not going to support this today, and I just am very sad that we're doing this.
The new trash fee started July 1st and will show up on property tax bills. While fees for organics and recycling bins are set no matter the size of the bin, customers have some options when it comes to trash. It's $43.60 a month for the standard 95-gallon container, but smaller ones are cheaper.
So those that select a 35-gallon trash container or a 65-gallon trash container, they'll pay a lower fee, and we expect many customers to take advantage of that.
Customers can choose their trash bin size on a new city website.
The website is now live, but we're inviting folks to wait till they receive their mailer to log in. That's because the mailer includes a unique code that they'll need in order to log in and create their account.
Bauer says mailers will be sent out until the end of July. Residents need to make a choice by the end of September. If they don't, they'll automatically be enrolled for the largest size bins at the highest cost. Bauer says the city will start delivering the new bins and collecting the old ones in October. Jacob Ayers, KPBS News.
Some good news for South Bay residents. You can leave your trash bins on the curb. Chula Vista Mayor John McCann says Republic Service workers are back on the job today. At least 80 trucks were deployed to pick up all of the trash. Emergency crews from Arizona are also here to support. Up to now, McCann says the big concern was trash piled outside of restaurants, attracting rats and bugs. Now Republic Services is focusing on homes and apartment complexes.
We put pressure on Republic Services to have additional drivers come in, and we set a deadline to potentially declare a state of emergency, and I think that deadline really helped push both parties to come together to end the strike.
Crews should be able to catch up with the trash pickups by Monday. If you have an emergency-related trash pickup, McCann says to call his office.
Weather headlines as we head into this evening. I will be tracking lots of sunshine and mild conditions, highs mainly in the 70s to low 80s for the next couple of days. I'm also tracking great weather for both Saturday and Sunday. There is going to be some rain chances in the forecast, primarily off to the east along the interior. The Four Corners will possibly even see some flooding rainfall. I'll have an updated look at that extended forecast coming up.
A private aircraft that lifted off Sunday from the Ramona Airport in San Diego County has been lost over the Pacific Ocean. KPBS SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge has the story.
The Cessna 240 that left the airport is a single-engine four-seat plane that is registered to Peter G. Schultz, a well-known San Diego scientist and the CEO of Scripps Research in La Jolla. On Monday, staff at Scripps Research said that Schultz was not on the plane, which he had lent to somebody else. The airplane was tracked as it flew west over the Pacific Ocean about 400 miles out to sea before the plane disappeared from radar. The Federal Aviation Administration said it cleared the Cessna to land at Montgomery Field, but shortly after takeoff, the FAA says it lost contact with the plane. Lance Nguyen is a commercial pilot based at Montgomery Field. He says the plane entered Bravo airspace, which is strictly reserved for the San Diego Airport at Lindbergh Field.
So there's no response from the pilot, so he directly flew into that Bravo airspace, went over Lindbergh's airfield, actually, at 2,600 feet.
Nguyen was monitoring the plane on the FlightAware website, and he said he couldn't believe the Cessna was headed out over the Pacific. Nguyen says if the pilot became incapacitated, he had clearly put the plane on autopilot.
He was using autopilot because he was on the same heading and the same altitude for the next two hours or so. And as pilots, as perfect as we try to be, we can't really keep as straight a line as that.
KPBS has been unable to confirm the name of the pilot or find out who else may have been on board. But Schultz, the plane's owner, told communications staff at Scripps Research that the man flying the plane was a friend and a very experienced pilot. On Monday, the Coast Guard says they, the Navy, and the Marines searched 2,600 square miles of ocean over 3 days. The search was suspended Tuesday afternoon. The National Transportation Safety Board told KPBS they have begun an investigation into the presumed crash of the airplane. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
It is no secret that water is expensive in San Diego, but now a recent settlement could help get a little money back. Voice of San Diego's Scott Lewis explains why it matters.
As we've explained before, we have too much water in San Diego, and we're paying a very high rate for it. So it was a big deal recently when the San Diego County Water Authority settled its 15-year lawsuit with the Metropolitan Water District. The Metropolitan Water District is a huge agency that delivers water from the Colorado River and Northern California. And the San Diego County Water Authority delivers it to each district in San Diego. The settlement will save millions in legal fees and will pave the way for San Diego to sell some of the expensive water it has secured over the last 30 years. And that could help keep rates from rising. Right now, your water rates are projected to go up another 50% by 2030. The new piece with the big water agency to the north is a big change for San Diego County Water Authority, and particularly for this woman, Chris Fromm. She used to be the chair of the agency, and then she became its main lawyer. Her and her firm collected more than $30 million in fees from the Water Authority over the last 25 years. Fromm was the architect of the legal battles that characterized Southern California water politics over that time. And 2 weeks ago, the Water Authority was again ready to renew her contract, but then came the settlement. So the Water Authority General Counsel David Edwards decided a lot of Fromm's work was no longer attorney-client privilege. After all, the legal war with Metropolitan was over. That sent one of the directors of the Water Authority, Jim Medaffer, into a fury. He attacked the General Counsel.
I think you're trying to pull a fast one on this board, and I'm not going to let you do it. You're not the judge. You're not the jury. Decisions are vested by this board, period. And let's not ever forget that. We run this show, not you.
I talked to Medaffer after that, and he went even further, saying the General Counsel should find another job. He also used colorful language, and that provoked a letter from several local water managers demanding that Modaffar be forced to apologize. There's nothing more genuine than a forced apology. What's really happening is many people at the Water Authority want to move beyond from and the legal battles of the past. But it's not that simple, and our water rates are at stake. I'm Scott Lewis for Voice San Diego, and that's why it matters.
And Voice of San Diego is one of our partners for the Public Matters Initiative. You can learn more at kpbs.org/Public Matters. Flash flooding has surged into the spotlight this summer. From Texas to the Northeast, record-breaking flood events have happened back-to-back across the country. Michael Yoshida has more on what's behind the seemingly nonstop weather events.
Experts say a combination of factors are contributing to the intense rainfall and deadly flooding that have hit areas across the country, from the Texas Hill Country to New York City.
Heavy rain and deadly flash flooding putting communities across the United States underwater.
It feels like events like last night, again, not just in New Jersey, but as a general matter, are coming more frequently with more intensity.
Summer is flash flood season, when intense daytime heat can fuel thunderstorms and warm air can hold more moisture. But experts say these recent events were more significant for several reasons. Along with high daytime temperatures in parts of the country, we've also seen record levels of atmospheric moisture, which helped drive heavy rainfall that led to deadly flooding in Texas and North Carolina. Summer storms also tend to move more slowly or even stall due to winds in the upper atmosphere being weaker.
And as a result, just deluging places that are not designed to handle that amount of precipitation in that short a period of time.
Recent wildfires also causing problems in areas like Ruidoso, New Mexico, burning away vegetation, and in some areas the fire's extreme heat changing the soil's natural ability to absorb and slow down rainwater. Droughts can have a similar effect too, something we saw amplify deadly flooding in Texas. Urban areas are not immune either, where asphalt pavement and older drain systems can be overrun.
There is a growing recognition in financial markets, in the scientific community, and, starting in infrastructure planning, that we are dealing with a much different beast in terms of the weather patterns that we're experiencing, and things have to change.
And more than 3,000 flash flood warnings have been issued this year so far by National Weather Service offices across the country. That's the highest total at this point in time in the year since the record started being taken back in 1986. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
I'm William Brangham. Tonight on the NewsHour, we speak to a family member of a Palestinian American murdered by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Inflation ticked up in June for the first time since February, and that is according to the latest Consumer Price Index report. And with President Trump threatening another round of tariffs on the European Union and Mexico, experts worry that prices could go up even more in the coming months. Jen Sullivan breaks down what it will cost you more.
Shoppers are paying more for a variety of items. The latest Consumer Price Index report released Tuesday shows overall prices are 2.7% higher than a year ago and rose 0.3% last month. The CPI measures price changes month to month for everything from energy to housing costs.
It's probably one of the most telegraphed inflation increases that we've had.
Stephen Cates with Bankrate says these latest numbers show how President Donald Trump's tariffs are impacting prices. When you break down this latest report, the cost of many key categories has gone up. Shoppers are really feeling the price hikes at the grocery store.
There are certain things that we cannot grow in the U.S., and added costs to import those from other countries is going to hit the grocery stores and going to hit your wallet.
President Trump wants to add 30% tariffs on products from Mexico and the European Union. And while that will likely generate revenue for the U.S. economy, experts say consumers could see prices rise even more.
If we layer on new tariffs on top of them, that's going to be some added fuel to the fire.
So what can consumers do to try and scale back spending? Cook at home. The average price to eat at a restaurant has increased more than the average cost to eat at home, according to this latest report. Kate says growing your own savings can help you feel more positive during economic uncertainty.
People who are able to put a little bit of money away into a high-yield savings account, CDs, treasury bonds, you're getting a really healthy yield compared to where we were over the last 15 years.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
National city officials are considering approval of a major new fuel depot on the city's west side. KPBS South Bay reporter Corey Suzuki says that has environmental advocates worried the city may be backing away from its decades-long pledge to reduce pollution.
This is medicinal. It's sage. It's medicinal. Medicinal, yeah, for the stomach.
Margarita Garcia has lived in West National City for 25 years. She's a retired hairdresser who likes knitting and loves cracking jokes.
Estaba tratando de poner plantas.
She's trying to plant.
Soy muy mala para.
She's very bad at it. So she was trying to garden, but she's very bad at it.
We're sitting at Margarita's dining room table. Angelica Estrada with the nonprofit Environmental Health Coalition is helping translate. Margarita has been working with the coalition for 2 decades now to push back against pollution in her neighborhood.
O sea que me metía, de metiche.
So she said she would get involved with everything and be nosy.
But Margarita turns serious when we get to what we're here to talk about today, a new fuel depot that's been proposed less than a mile from her home. The company behind the project is Houston-based USD Clean Fuels. The depot would serve as a regional distribution hub for tens of thousands of gallons of biofuels every day. Biofuels are alternatives to petroleum-based gas and diesel. They're made from cleaner sources like vegetable oils and algae. But to transport the fuels, the company would rely on diesel-burning trucks and trains. USD says the depot would support California's goals for cleaning the air and slashing climate-warming emissions. But Margarita says it would be a step backwards for National City.
Ya tenemos mucho tiempo que estamos tratando de limpiar la ciudad.
We've been trying to clean the city of pollution for a long time, she says. We're almost there, and then something worse comes along. It's not fair. USD declined a request for an interview. West National City used to be mostly small, single-family homes. But in the 1960s, the Port of San Diego opened a new marine cargo terminal in National City to process cars from overseas. City officials changed the city's zoning laws and opened up the west side to small-scale manufacturing.
If we walk down the streets of West National City, you'll see an auto body shop, you'll see a car out on the street that's being, worked on there, and then you'll see a family.
Jose Franco Garcia is the executive director of the Environmental Health Coalition. He's not related to Margarita. Franco says those planning decisions have left people in the neighborhood breathing highly polluted air.
There's the stories, there's the human experience of living it, but we are, as an organization, we're also doing the research and the policy to evaluate that and make sure we're, combining that with actual evidence, right? Seeing the numbers of ER visits, seeing the numbers of particulate matter, diesel particulate matter in the air.
Diesel particulate matter is one of the pollutants that Franco pays the closest attention to. Those particles come from the diesel engines in heavy gas-powered trucks and freight trains. They can reach deep into the lungs, increasing the risk of cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. Statewide data show West National City has some of the highest concentrations of diesel particulate matter in California. At Margarita's home, her air quality monitor often reports toxic particles outside. She also has an irregular heartbeat and has survived an aneurysm. Both conditions have been linked to air pollution. As more residents on the west side have spoken up, city officials have started clamping down in recent years. They passed restrictions and freezes on new industrial businesses.
This has been an ongoing battle.
That's Mayor Ron Morrison speaking during a council meeting in 2010. That year, the city adopted the West Side Specific Plan. It was an ambitious pledge to undo the damage of past zoning decisions and slowly untangle those businesses from the neighborhood.
The west side today does not look like it did 10 years ago. And, people that are realistic that look at it say there has been drastic change. Is there room for more change? Yeah, we've only just begun.
But environmental advocates worry the proposed fuel depot would hurt those ongoing efforts to reduce pollution. The city's own environmental analysis says the depot would lead to more trains and trucks and more diesel pollution on the west side of the city. The project is also facing questions from state regulators about what it would mean for residents' health. City Council member Luz Molina represents the district that includes the proposed depot. She declined an interview request, but encouraged residents to stay engaged in the process. Franco, with the Environmental Health Coalition, says the decision comes at an especially fragile time for environmental justice efforts across the country. President Donald Trump has severely weakened California's biggest environmental mandates. His administration has also slashed environmental grants for communities of color and poorer neighborhoods. Franco says that includes some awarded to his organization.
There's a lot of fights going on right now, I'm sure, as you're well aware. So not everybody who probably would be concerned about this can jump into it.
Still, Franco says it makes him hopeful to know that residents like Margarita are carrying on West National City's tradition of working together to make their voices heard. The city's planning commission will vote on whether or not to move the project forward in the coming weeks. In National City, Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
Efforts to save San Diego Starlight Bull in Balboa Park has hit a major snag. Someone broke into the iconic amphitheater on July 12th and stole about $30,000 worth of equipment. It is the latest setback in a string of incidents that have delayed its reopening since a fallen tree forced its closure in 2019. Investigators believe the burglars went through the security window that didn't have a deadbolt.
This type of criminal behavior, it's an emotional setback over the financial setback. These guitars were donated to us. So for us to be able to walk in to a venue that we are volunteering to see our hard work and efforts suffer this sort of loss, it's definitely a setback.
The Save Starlight Group is pushing to finalize their lease with the city. They say without it, they can't bring in sponsors and donors to help pay for increased security and for renovations.
I am tracking great weather here as we head throughout the next couple of days, and heading into tonight, I'll be tracking overnight lows in the mid-60s, pretty mild for this time of year. Low clouds near the coastal areas will be the primary feature you'll notice here as you're heading out the door. Overnight lows are primarily going to be in the low to mid-60s here along the coastal areas. Some cooler conditions as you head along the interior, down to 62 tonight for both Oceanside and Camp Pendleton. Future track radar is showing that by 6 a.m., heads up, we're going to see some showers getting pretty close, but they're going to stay well off to the east to where it doesn't really look like we're going to see any organized rain chances. However, right around 9 a.m., as you look off to the east, we can't rule out the possibility of a few stray sprinkles in the forecast. So you may be heading out the door to a few sprinkles there for your Thursday morning. And then by Thursday afternoon, those sprinkles are primarily going to lift their way to the north. Now, once again, the overall organized chance of rain is going to remain relatively low, but it's not going to be zero here as we head throughout the day on Thursday. So we'll be watching out for that trend to continue as we head throughout Thursday, even as we head into Friday. But most of that rainfall will remain along the interior here as we head throughout your Thursday. Temperature-wise here for your Thursday afternoon, pretty mild, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be primarily in the 70s. We will see some 80s, including 80 degrees right there in Escondido. Heading into Friday, once again, more showers, more storms, mainly in the evening hours along the Four Corners. It'll stay dry here across the coastal areas and especially across the Southern California metro or area. Coast forecast here for the extended outlook. Temperatures will be in the 70s. Overnight lows will be in the 60s. Lots of sunshine, no real organized chances of rain. Inland forecast will see temperatures rebounding into the 80s as we head into the weekend. Overnight lows will be a mix of upper 50s to low 60s. Across the mountains, we'll see highs in the 60s before climbing back into the 70s by next week. And then across the desert, we're going to be back in the triple digits here as we head throughout the weekend. Overnight lows will be in the mid 70s.
We're getting a clearer picture of where potential parking fees could be implemented at Balboa Park and how much they could cost. The mayor's office told our media partner, KGTV, parking meters would be added along Park Avenue, President's Way, and 6th Avenue. And those spots will cost $2.50 per hour. The parking lots at the park will charge anywhere from $5 to $15 a day, with discounts available to San Diego residents.
So it's great to be able to just come anytime. And then, yeah, I think if we had to pay to park, it would definitely deter us from coming as often as we do.
That would be a shame. I don't want to pay to park.
The proposal still needs parking meter zone approval. The city says the money would be used to pay for park improvements to make sure it's financially sustainable long term. A home in Escondido has been renovated exclusively for women veterans and their children. KPBS military and veterans reporter Andrew Dyer brings us on an early home tour.
Wounded Warrior Homes Executive Director Rick Espedia shows us around this suburban Escondido home.
And so that's it in here. Outside, so new countertops, new sink, new doors, hardware, new shower doors. It'll be nice.
A veteran woman and her kids can stay in the home free of charge while she's enrolled in one of several Wounded Warrior Homes programs. That includes job training, help finishing college, or mental health services if needed. It's all about providing stability.
And here's one of the other bedrooms. It's a little bit bigger. So if I have somebody with 2 kids first, they're coming in here.
Wounded Warrior Homes runs another home for men in Vista. Army veteran Glenn Rivera lives there. He's been with Wounded Warrior Homes for 2 years and has been working on updating the women's house.
I think that's a good way to people coming out of the military or people that are having issues adjusting to civilian life. It's a good process to come here and get help through them.
SPDS says they're already receiving applications and plan to have a family move in next month.
We want to make sure that the women coming in here with their 2 kids are really the most, have the most need for this place.
Rivera says rehabbing the home has been a good experience.
Whenever we walked in, everything was dark, everything was outdated, and now seeing the changes, everything, it kind of helps out to be a little bit more proud of the work that we're doing, trying to help other veterans, and especially during those hard times. So that itself is a good feeling.
More information is available at woundedwarriorhomes.org. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. NASA wants to land Artemis astronauts on the moon next year, but the scientific instruments they'll bring must be tested on Earth. NPR's Morning Edition explains why Arizona may be the best place to do that. And KPBS Midday Edition is getting us ready for the weekend with a roundup of all the best arts and culture events around town. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.